I guess if you could just help us, give us a little bit of a timeline here, or break down where things stand. Is the program right now in the orange red or red red scenarios that were laid out by the Big Ten? Is that part of the reason that the game was canceled on Saturday?
The game was canceled. It got to the point where it was orange red, but let's take a look at the timeline. Our first month of testing and practice, we had one positive. We had one positive test. I believe it was Wednesday prior to the game. Since the game, we've had 12 positive tests. We just felt with the number of positives in that short a timeline, the chancellor and I felt we have an issue that we had to make this decision and get our arms around this and control the COVID and the virus now before it got out of hand.
Go to Jim Polzine.
Barry, this 7-day pause would seem to put the week 3 game against Purdue in jeopardy. How worried are you about that, and what needs to happen, I guess, before then to make sure you guys can play that game or any other games going forward?
Yeah, we'll see where we are as far as testing, and we'll make that decision as we move closer to the game. But the most important thing right now is to quarantine our players and get this under control. We'll make that decision about playing the next game when that time comes.
Go to Steve McGargy.
Thank you for doing this. I think you answered my first question. The release had said 6 players, 6 staff members, but tests were pending. I'm just checking to make sure there haven't been any more since then. And also, what do you think might have just kind of caused this outbreak? Was it just the statewide numbers just kind of catching up to y'all, or what do you think might have caused this?
Yeah, Steve, that's hard to answer why. I don't have an answer for that. We do have a couple that are still pending.
Go to Adam Rittenberg.
Barry, from what you know about the testing, was this always a possibility? I mean, we heard things about how this would limit contact tracing and ideally limit the number of positive tests in a short period. Some people are wondering, did the testing not work right, or was this always a possibility in your mind from what you knew about the antigen testing every day?
Adam, we felt like the daily quick response test would answer contact tracing for us. Obviously it's not the total answer, but it is given us some criteria that we can go on. And, we felt after the first month that we had pretty good grasp of it, and we're confident in it.
Go to Heather Dinich.
Barry, can you hear me okay?
Yes, Heather.
So just 2 follow-ups on logistics. When you talked about the orange red, does that mean that you had to follow Big Ten protocol to make this decision? Is the first question. Can you clarify that?
Yes. The decision fell into the category where the chancellor and I would make the decision, had the prerogative to make a decision. And with 12 since the game, we felt it was appropriate to make the decision not to play.
Okay, and then the other follow-up on logistical was in terms of how it happened. Did you change anything in your routine, whether it was a team meal? I know it's hard to pinpoint, quote, how it happened, but are there anything that you guys changed that you might say, well, that may have led to it, that maybe other teams can learn from going forward from this?
That's a good question, Heather. I'm going to refer that to Paul when he comes on, because I wasn't with the team Thursday night, day night before the game, or up to the game. So that's something you can ask him.
Go to Jeff Patrikas. Yeah, Barry, I'm sorry I joined late. I'm not sure if you were asked this already, but are you concerned about your own situation? Have you tested to see whether you're positive or not?
Yeah, my administrators, we all tested Thursday and Friday. And when I went today, Chris McIntosh and I went also again today. We'll get our results from today early tomorrow morning. But yes, definitely, we were concerned.
Go to Sam McEwen.
All right. Thanks for doing this, Barry. Why did you guys, I guess, to go back to your original answer, why did you decide to pause at this moment? Obviously, the 12 didn't put you in an automatic pause. Is the 7-day pause your own discretion, and can you remove that at some point if you choose? And what was your conversations with Nebraska about this?
To answer your first question, I thought I answered that, but you know, with 12 in the last since the game, talking to our medical people as well as our chancellor, we just felt like with those numbers that we had to get our arm around this. We didn't feel comfortable, particularly with as few as we've had prior to. And so we just felt it was necessary to control it now. And we'll put all of our players, we'll have an individual hotel room for all of our players as we quarantine them. So we just felt it was important if we wanted to continue play for the year to make this move right now and control the virus at this point. And your other question was? Oh, I called Bill Moose this morning. We had our normal 7 a.m. athletic director's call. I got a hold of Bill before that call and told him what our decision was, what our situation was. Thought Bill was very understanding. Disappointed because we were supposed to have dinner Friday night together. But I thought Bill was very professional and understanding, and felt disappointed for us, and I'm sure disappointed that we weren't going to play a game.
Go to Dennis Dodd.
Hey, Barry, sorry it happened. When does the 7-day period end? And what is the likelihood the Purdue game will be played, given that when that 7-day period ends, I think I have this right, the team will have to start like from 0 and then go to 60 practicing and get ready for a game a few days later.
Yeah, Dennis, that's something that we'll have to determine. We'll have to see where we are as far as testing before we make that decision. And, you know, as far as, I haven't looked at the logistics or how many days. Obviously, we could start game planning now. You could have meetings, Zoom meetings, et cetera, but you still have to get out and move around and physically go through your things. So, you know, that's something that we'll determine as we move forward.
Go to Josh Schaefer.
Barry, you mentioned the players quarantining in individual hotel rooms. I was curious what the next steps are for them. Has the whole team taken a nasal swab test? And if that's negative, they can come out of quarantine, or are they quarantining for a certain amount of days no matter what? What's the situation with that?
As I understand it, we're quarantining for 7 days. And they will continue to test.
Go back to Colton.
Yeah, Barry, I don't know if this is maybe better for Paul, but do you think you need to change any of your mitigation strategies, seeing as it doesn't seem to work, or it hasn't seemed to work in the past week or so?
Or what strategies? I don't know.
Sorry about that. Your mitigation strategies, like what you're doing around the facility or different things in that sense.
Well, that's something similar to that was asked about what we did prior to the game. Probably should want to ask Paul that.
Go to Lori Nickel.
Hi, I wondered what your medical staff does now with the 6 kids who have tested positive. My understanding from covering like the Bucks and the Brewers, athletes should not work out with a positive test, right? It's truly not just quarantine, but rest. Is there anything else that they should not do?
You know what? I'm not with the medical staff. I can't answer that. Sorry.
Back to Heather for one last question.
Can you hear me?
I hear you now.
Okay, this is a loaded question. I mean, look, you guys fought so hard to get back here. You look great in the first game, and now this. How do you balance the safety and the frustration with, man, like we could be a contender for the West?
Yeah, it is. We were very excited about the fact that we could play. And I think the most dangerous thing is, being anxious to get back in, particularly, Heather, as you said, personally, I think we're a very good football team. And I thought we performed very well. Really impressed with the fact that we had, as you watch games, as I've been watching college football for the last several weeks, that first game, there were so many mistakes made by so many people, whether it be turnovers, penalties, etc. And we played such a clean game. And to turn around and not be able to play or continue to practice right now is very disappointing and frustrating. And I think the first thing, your natural tendency is, let's get back on the field and get right back at it. But that's where, you have to put priorities in order and make sure that our number one concern is health and safety of our athletes. And that's the priorities that we'll keep.